Okay, all right.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So today we are going to discuss about the relationship between human resource management and the gross domestic product. You know the definition of gross domestic product. Gross domestic product means the products produced within the national boundary. Gross domestic product in a year. And is there a relationship between human resource management and the gross domestic product? Usually GDP is a economics issue. Economics issue means that economists ultimately calculate the GDP of a country. So it is one of the economics literature, and it is the literature of the business management or human resource management. So there in a strategic relationship or strategic human resource management, we say that strategic human resource management means the human resource management that is linked with the top management's objective or goals of the company. So if we extend the relationship to the national level, that means the government decision making, government makes a plan to increase GDP or national income of a country. When they set the strategic goal for a year, the human resource or the people in the company contribute to the people in the nation contribute to the production. They're working in the farms or companies, and the farms together, all the production of the farms together is known as GDP or gross domestic product. So strategically, we can say that the people are involved with the gross domestic product of a country or of a nation. So that's why many countries in the world invest a lot of money for the human resource development. Human resource development includes education, their knowledge base, their skills development. A lot of investments are made by the governments for the human resource development. Today, we will try to give a basic understanding how human resource management or the company's human resource department can contribute to the gross domestic product or value added. Value added is another term that usually we use to explain the GDP of a country, value added. And the word value added is explained as the factors contribution. In economics, as GDP is an economic issue and the economics calculate the GDP of a country, GDP ultimately, or the economics, in economics, there are 4 factors of production, you know. There are 4 factors of production. These factors contribute to gross domestic product of a country, or usually we can say that the gross domestic, one of the important components of the gross domestic product is value added. With some adjustment, value added is also known as GDP of a country. And the 4 factors of production are land, labor, capital, and organizer or entrepreneur or organization. So how these 4 factors contribute to the gross domestic product of a country. The strategic objective is to increase the GDP. Increase the GDP means GDP growth, and GDP growth ultimately means that the economy is going ahead or developing. That is the growth of GDP indicates. And it is one of the important indicators of development. Say for an example, Bangladesh is moving ahead. Bangladesh is moving ahead. This means that the GDP growth rate of Bangladesh is good. And it is around 6.5% for the last 1 decade. and it is the indicator of economic development, and a result of such development, our country has promoted or improved or advanced from the LDC. LDC means least developed country to developing country. There are several factors. We are not going to discuss about these factors, but for the moment we are going to give a link between the human resource management and the GDP of a country. So there are four factors of production: land, labor, entrepreneur or organizer, and the capital. And the price of these four factors are known as: the price of labor is wages, price of organizer is profit, and price of capital is interest, and price of land is rent. These are the economic issues, and economists ultimately discuss about these four factors prices. But from the human resource aspect, as a human resource manager, land is also defined as the natural resources of a country. Natural resource endowment or land of a country cannot do anything. Can land do anything without the help of human resources?
No, sir.
So
No, sir.
ultimately, human resource, the people who ultimately utilize the land. And that means the contribution of the land is coming through the, applications or through the uses by the human resource. Human resources utilize the land and that contribute to the economy. Similarly, capital. Can capital do anything? Usually we say that capital means the money that is invested in the business is known as capital. And there are a lot of explanations in economics what capital is. However, for the moment, from the business aspect, you know what is capital. Capital means money invested for the business. So can money do anything? Can
No,
money
sir.
do? Money cannot do anything without the help of human resources. So human resources and the people, they ultimately use the capital and they contribute to the national economy. And what about the organizer? Organizer means the entrepreneur. Entrepreneur and the labor itself. Labor means the people who are working in the company. And organizer means the owner who ultimately utilizes the capital and land. Labor and organizer, the people or the people factor in the factors of production, among the factors of production. There are four factors. One is labor, another is organizer, another is capital,
Land.
another is land. So labor and organizer are ultimately people or human resource. Labor and organizer are the human resources. And human resources ultimately utilize the land and capital. And these two factors cannot do anything by itself without the help of human. So if the labor are educated, labor are skillful, labor are knowledgeable, they can utilize the land and capital properly. If the organizer is a learned man, the organizer is a good man, the organizer can be a resource to convert the capital and land into value added. So among the four factors of production, only the labor and organizer are the human resources. But land and capital, although are not the human resources, they cannot do anything without the help of human resources. That's why human resource is the number or pivotal force that ultimately lead the economic contribution or value added of a company. And the total value added factors contribution together is known as GDP of a country. This example may make it more clear. What is value added? And how the human resources are contributing to the value added. And the example is given that there are four factors. Four factors includes land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. These are the four factors. They ultimately contribute to the economic development of a country, and as the value added, the contribution of these four factors: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. These are the four factors, and the contributions of these factors together is known as value added or value addition. Suppose a tailor creates a shirt in his own. Are you going with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And are you getting the point why human resource is very important and pivotal force for the development of a country and especially for GDP growth? Do you think?
Yes, sir.
You are going little fast, little slow, Jain, sir.
Okay, thanks. So we are dealing with the four factors of production. Four factors of production, and these factors are ultimately known as the value-added contributors. Value-added contributors. The example will make it more clear. Say, for an example, suppose a tailor. I'm not talking about a company. Just think about a tailor who creates your shirt. Suppose a tailor creates a shirt in his own home by using his own capital and employing no outside labor, and sold it to the market for $100 or taka, for which he purchased raw materials for 50 takas. That means a tailoring shop. The tailoring shop, the tailor is the only labor,
Labor.
and he is also the entrepreneur. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And he is employing his own capital. And at the same time, land or the resources, or the room he rented is also his own land, own home. And he bought outside raw materials for $50, and he sold the product at $100. In this case, in this case, his distribution of total cost would be as follows. Say, for an example, he bought raw materials for $50. He has his own land, own room, and the rental is zero. What is the rental?
None.
Zero. And cost
Zero.
of capital, interest means
Zero.
he has used his own capital. Own capital means that there is no interest he needs to pay somebody or banks. So interest is zero. And cost of labor, he
Zero.
is the owner of the company. So labor cost is also ultimately zero. And it means that the company, the tailor is selling the product at $100, and his raw material cost is $50. So the value added indicates that the sale price minus the raw materials that is bought from outside is known as value added. What is the
Value added.
definition of value added? Value added means a company will manufacture product and the company will sell the product. When the company will sell the product, the company will add its all manufacturing cost plus the profit of the owner plus the raw materials or the materials brought from outside, and then the sales price will set. Sales price. So sales price will include raw materials bought from outside and also the factors contribution and also the profit of the owner. Here, as the factors are all owned by the owner, tailor. So land is also his profit. Capital interest is also his profit. Labor is also his profit because he is not taking any money as labor charge. Ultimately, these are offset with the profit of the company. So what is the value added here? Are you getting the point? What is the value added here, or value addition? Value added and value
Entrepreneur's
addition.
gain.
Sorry,
50.
50. So how it is 50? 50 means that you're right. You're right, because sales price, the definition of value added is that sales price minus the raw materials that bought from outside of the company, because we are calculating the value added of a firm. You know what is firm? Firm means a company is known as a firm, and some firm together is known as industry,
Industry.
and some industry together is known as or that industry and sector is almost synonymous. Plants, some plants together is known as farm, and some farms together is known as industry. Usually we use the industry term to indicate, say for an example, garments industry, retail industry. Garments industry means that all the companies who are doing the garments business means garments industry. And garments firm means a company owned by a group of people. Say for an example, a people means if it is sole proprietorship, group of people means if it is partnership, or if it is a private limited company or a public limited company. So a firm means the structure that is owned by a people or a group of people is known as a firm. And industry means all firms in a respective area. Say for an example, spinning industry or yarn industry or washing industry, or someone of you are working in Daraz. So Daraz is working in online business, online industry. Online industry, what does it means? Online industry means that Daraz is one of the firm, and there are some other firms. Say for an example, Amazon. Amazon is operating in Bangladesh? Maybe not.
No, sir.
So Amazon is like online firm. Then it may be eBay or eValley in our country.
Bigcroy.com.
Bigcroy.com. So these are the firms. Firm means a company owned by a people or a group of people. And plant means under a firm, there may have several units of activities or units of production that is known as plant. Say for an example, in a garments factory, garments factory is a firm. So under or Violatex, have you heard the word Violatex?
Yes, sir.
So Violatex is a firm, and Violatex has few plants. Say for an example, washing plant, dyeing plant, or knitting plant. So these plants are under the ownership of Violatex. And Violatex is a member of the garments industry. And garments is all the Violatex, Beximco, Square. These are all the firms, and all firms together is known as the industry. All right.
Industry. Yes, sir.
What I'm talking about, we are talking about the value added of a firm. Value added of a firm. And value added of a firm, ultimately, if we add the value added of each and individual firms together of all the firms of industry, then you can calculate the value added of that particular industry. So here the concept is that we are linking the human resource management's contribution to the economic development of a country or the
GDP.
value added or the GDP of a country. How they are contributing. Here only the people, labor. Taylor is contributing as the labor, as the capital provider, as the land provider, and he has bought some materials from outside. So market price of the product is $100, and you know how to set the market price because in your pricing chapter of marketing, you know how to calculate the market price of a product. The system is that for a revision, to set the market price, this means that manufacturing cost plus non-manufacturing cost plus markup. Markup means the profit of the company, firm, or the owner. So when you are adding markup with the cost or expenses of the product, then you can get the price of the product. And we are giving the same example with the contributions of the factors. To produce any product, you need 4 factors: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. And these 4 factors contribution together is known as value added. And you will add any materials if you bought it from outside together, then you will get the sales price. Or if you want to know the definition of value added, it means that the sales price minus the raw materials brought or bought from outside is known as value added. Our purpose is not to explain the value added issue. Our purpose is to prove that how HR is contributing for the development of a nation. Why the countries are investing a lot of money in education sector for the development of human resources. Yes.
Sir, have you taken the attendance?
Yes, because when we have started the class, you know, the class time is
Sir, আমি স্যার
6:30.
5 মিনিট পরে জয়েন করছি স্যার, ওই কানেকশন হচ্ছিল না, কি আমারটা কি দেওয়া যাবে?
Yes,
স্যার
I
আমি
know. And
মিস করে গিয়েছিলাম স্যার অ্যাটেন্ডেন্সটা শুরুতে।
can we take the attendance at the end of the lecture?
Sure sir, sure.
Sure sir, no problem.
So late attendance system is here. So I think we can take care of the late attendance, and during the lecture sessions, you should not interrupt in such a way that you are late and you need the attendance. It's not the system. During the lecture session, you will only raise the issues that you are not getting, that you are not understanding. That is very important, right? So we are now explaining that how human resource management is linked with the national interest. That means how human resource people of a country is strategically related with the development of a country or strategic human resource management. That is also strategic human resource management by the government of a country. Why they are investing, why the education system is free in the developed countries? Because they know that to add the value, to have the economic growth, to increase the GDP of a country, they need the people. That's why they have very special effort for the development of the human resources. Education system is free in many countries. Only higher education is expensive, or higher education is paid program. Because the education that is very important for the economic activities are free all over the world. And higher education is only for the, research and development purposes. So what we are talking about the contribution of the human resource management to the economic development of a country, and ultimately how the human resources are help adding the value added of a country. Is this clear? That means what is the value added? If we say that the sales price minus the raw materials cost, that is value added. And these four factors all are controlled by the people. Land is controlled by the people. As the land is owned by the owner or entrepreneur, there is no external expenses or outside expenses. As the capital is employed by the entrepreneur, so interest is ultimately added with the profit. And as the labor, he is the labor, or the tailor is the labor, so profit is going to his pocket. All right, so let's extend the definition of value added, because you are the strategic human resource manager, so you have to think about the national interest also, in addition to your farm contribution. Your farm contribution is going to the nation. Your farm's contribution is going to the nation, because value added is a national issue, and you are just utilizing the factors of production and the value added by the farm. Now think that the same tailor creates the same shirt by renting a shop. This time the owner of the shop is not by the tailor. He has rented a shop using some borrowed capital. That means he has no money. He has borrowed some money from his family, friends, or from the bank, and employing an outside labor. That means this time he has a lot of jobs and he has no sufficient manpower. He is taking labor from outside and sold it to the market at $100, for which he purchased raw materials for $50. The raw materials price is same as the previous case. Only the difference is that the tailor is not doing everything. His shop is not owned by him. He has no money, borrowed capital from outside, and employing outside labor. He is not working as the labor this time. He is only the entrepreneur this time. He is only the entrepreneur. That means he is organizer or entrepreneur, same thing. So the cost of factors are 10 means that rent is $10, and then interest for capital is $10, and outside labor charge is $10. So raw material cost is $50, cost of land is $10, cost of capital is $10, and cost of labor is $10. And what is the entrepreneur's profit this time?
20.
20 is markup. $20 is known as markup. So what is the sales price is $100. Can you tell me what is the value added here?
So 50.
So value added in the previous case was also 50, and value added for the additional case or the extension is also 50. Is it all right? What do you think?
Sales price minus raw material price.
So the formula is same. Sales
It's
price,
20.
raw material cost is the
Value addition.
value. So a company is adding value. Adding value means that there are four factors contribution. The four factors are: number one is land, number two is labor, number three is entrepreneur, and number four is capital.
Capital.
Labor and entrepreneur or the organizer is known as the human resources or the people, in fact. And the other factors cannot do anything by itself. Capital cannot do anything without the help of people. So you know the people, you need the people who knows how to utilize the capital. You need the people who knows how to utilize the land. Land, once again, is also known as the natural resources by definition, and economists say that it is the natural resources or resource endowment, natural resource endowment. So here what we are trying to explain, that without people you cannot undertake any business activity. business activity. And your business activity, human resource effort is adding value to the national economy. And usually every company prepares such type of value added statement. Every company prepares this type of value added statement. And if you check the definition of value added or GDP of a country, there are a lot of approaches. Say for an example, income approach, expenditure approach. Maybe you from your basic economics course, you know the definition of GDP and how to calculate it. Usually there are two methods. One is income approach and another is expenditure approach. Expenditure approach, that means the expenditure expenses you are making as the consumer. Expenditure the government is spending, say for an example, salaries and benefits paying to the people. So adding these issues is similar to income of the people. Your how much is your salary? Is 100,000 is your salary. So this is the expenditure of a company, and this is the income of you. So the factors contribution is known as the income approach of calculating value added or the GDP of a company. Income approach, because this is ultimately income. Cost of land. Cost of land means this dollar is going to somebody who owns the land as his income. Cost of capital, it is going to the capital provider as his income. Cost of labor is getting by salary and wages by the people. So their income approach. And entrepreneur is also earning money as income, profit. So it is, this approach is known as the income approach. And this type of value added statement is prepared by every company. If you read the annual report of any company, you will find that this type of value added statements are available. So for example, this statement is downloaded from the Square Textiles value added statement. Here can you link the definition of value added here? What is the definition of value added? Sales minus the outside raw materials, isn't it?
Raw materials. Yes, sir.
So sales minus
Materials and
raw
services.
materials brought from outside or services brought from outside. And then you will get the value added. One more issue is added here, other income. Other income means that, what is other income? Can you remember the definition of other income? Anybody? What is other income here? Because our definition differs only with the addition of other income. Okay. What is the income of a company or sales of a company? The turnover, sales, revenue, these are all same, you know, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Turnover.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And net turnover means sales minus sales returns. That's why the word net turnover is used. Sales, sometimes the principle of sales. What is the principles of sales? Sales means when the ownership changes, that is known as sales. When the ownership changes is known as sales. Whether you are getting money instantly or not, it doesn't matter. That means there are two different accounting principles. One is known as cash basis accounting, another is recognition basis, accrual basis, or right, cash basis, accrual basis. And accounting principles all over the world follows the accrual basis of accounting. So accrual basis accounting means that when you are supplying the product to the buyer, you have to record that it is sold. But sometimes because of defect or some other reasons, you can get the product back. In that case, what will happen? You have to minus the sales then you will get the net turnover and minus the raw materials, and you will get the value added. Other income is added here. Net sales means that the income generated from the operations of a company. Income generated from the operations of a company is sales. Say for an example, the tailor. Tailor's income. What is the tailor's income? Tailor's income when the tailor will deliver the shirt, ready-made shirt. That is the income. But sometimes tailor do some extra jobs. Say for an example, his machine is not working. He can sold the machine at lower price or as a garbage or obsolete item. So income generated from selling the machines is not the sales or turnover of that company. Income generated from the other than operations is known as other income. Maybe the tailor is depositing some fund in a bank and he gets some interest on bank. That is also other income. Maybe the Square Textiles has invested some money in the stock exchange. The dividend received by the Square Textiles is other income. Are you getting what is other income? So
স্যার
that is
আদার
also
ইনকাম কি ফিক্সড অ্যাসেটের উপরই হতে হবে সব সময়?
fixed asset is not necessary. Say for an example, আপনি প্রোডাক্ট সেল করলেন, স্ক্র্যাপ প্রোডাক্ট থাকে না, স্ক্র্যাপ, যেটা
Yes, sir.
বাংলাদেশে আপনি ভালো চিনবেন,
ভাঙলে
গার্মেন্টস যে জুট বলে, জুট আছে না, জুট,
Yes, sir. Yes.
that is also other income. That is also other income because it is not the ultimate income from the operations. These are the additional income. That is other income. So you're getting the value added amount and then the subdivision of value added. কয় ভাগে ভাগ করা যাবে? There are 4 factors we said, and the 4 factors are, say for an example, number 1 is employees. That means labor, that we say in our economics issue. Labor means, what is labor? Labor means the people who are working in the company, also known as the employees. Here the term labor and employees are same. Salaries, wages, and all other benefits for the employees is 1 billion. And then taxes. Government is also a part of the business. So you are paying government as taxes, as rent. We are giving taxes to the government because government is the owner or holder of all assets of a country. So we have to pay rental to the government, or tax, usually known as the term tax. And then provider of capital. Provider of capital means profit. Profit may be of 2 types. One is profit distributed to the owners is known as dividend, and a portion of the profit that is retained in the business, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Retained in the business. And one additional issue that is added with is known as depreciation, is one of the value added component, because depreciation means depreciation on machines. These have been deducted from the profit, but this depreciation is not cash or not going to anybody else. Is it going to anybody else?
No, sir.
These are being reserved in the accumulated depreciation account. You know the definition, accumulated depreciation account. This contribution is also added back to know the, because these are subtracted from the revenue, but these are adjusted with the fixed assets. This is only the exception. That means you have to add back the depreciation to know the value added. So is it clear that these are the ultimately factors contribution? All right. These are the factors contribution, and the factors are land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. and the land and the capital cannot do anything by itself. Only the human resources, the skilled human resources, good human resources can utilize the land and also the capital
Capital.
of the economic development of a country. So human resource, once again, the human resource is the pivotal or prime force of the economic development of a country. And strategic relationship is that the government will set a target that next year the government will achieve 10% economic growth. Economic growth means
GDP growth.
GDP. So the government will set 10% economic growth. To achieve this 10% economic growth, the government will develop the human resources. The government will develop the human resources to achieve the target. And there are a lot of human resource management strategies the government must undertake. Say, for example, training and development. The government, human resource, the government's public administration division is also known as the human resource department of the government, public administration. They are the human resource managers. This ministry ultimately controls the human resources of the government. And also government is also responsible to train the people who are not working there in the company or government. So the government will formulate strategies how to train and develop the human resources to achieve the 10% growth of the economy. That is strategic human resource management. All right. So human resource management in farm aspect is similarly as the human resource at the national stage, because this farm contribution, all the farm's contribution will be added together as the industry value added, you know, isn't it?
Yes,
What
sir.
is industry value added?
Sir.
Square textiles, Beximpur textiles, Bela textiles, there are 5,000, or in some words, there are around 10,000 garments factories in Bangladesh. And if you add up all the contributions of the 10,000 farms or 5,000 farms, 5,000 means big farms, who are the members of the BGMA. But there are a lot of garments factories, small garments factories, they are not the member of the BGMA. They are also contributing. Say, for example, outsourcing. Outsourcing are done by the small factories. They're also farms. So if we add up all the resources or the value added of every farm, then we can get the value added of the industry. And if we add the value added of all the industries together, then we know the value added of the country. And with some adjustment, that is also known as the gross domestic product. Charging, what is the problem? So is it clear how human resource management and GDP of a country is related? Human resource development will lead to factors contribution, and the factors contribution will lead to value added. Value added will lead to GDP growth, and GDP growth will lead to economic development of a country. All right. So don't think that. Are you with me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Maybe the problem is in laptop. There are a lot of problems. Can you hear me, or I'm hanged?
We can hear you,
Sir,
but we
we
cannot
can
see
hear you,
you.
but your image video is stuck.
Just a moment, maybe the charging problem, because of low charge, the problem is here. Now we'll move to our next chapter. That is about strategic human resource management. As the laptop is disturbing, can you take a break of 15 minutes around? All right. Oh, maybe it is working. Is it? Can you hear me? Sorry, I was disconnected for technical issues. Technical issues, maybe because of the problem of my laptop. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Clear, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry. So